Hey guys, so now we'll walk through how we can automate the entire client acquisition pipeline inside of Go High Level. So all the way from the initial chat to the first call, the first meeting, to NDA signing. And into the second meeting, all of these would be more personalized based on your company's SOP. So we'll only be touching the first step of this whole pipeline, right? Automating this part of the pipeline. As the second meeting onwards, you'll have more detailed meetings all the way to proof of concepts and all the way to going live. I think those shouldn't be automated yet because you need to proof check, double confirm whether or not things are correct before only you drag it to the next stage, for example, right? So in most cases, in most BD teams, are actually stuck with very messy workflows, especially in the start, right? Leads can come in from different places, right? WhatsApp, email, for example, and someone needs to manually reply to all of them and also book the call, depending on who has to join, who has the free times, for example. And after the call, if they're okay, you need to start preparing for the NDAs, for example. Then only you send it out. So in this case, for example, when leads come in through, let's say, WhatsApp, right, or email, for example, they'll then be sent a booking link, right, for the first meeting. After the first meeting, if you think they're a good fit for, collaborations, for example, you just need to drag and drop it to NDA, and it automatically send NDA to the particular email that they've set, right? So this would help, really relieve a lot of the friction for, companies' workflows, right? Especially in the business development side, right? Because this would help smoothen the follow-up process as well as keeping track of who's the lost deals, for example. So with this pipeline, or so to say, these automations in flow, right? These and many others, these would help your team only focus on the actual calls, the parts of the calls where you actually ask for the actual usable data, right? Information, instead of wasting a lot of their time doing the administrative work, such as moving them to the such as booking calls, creating the NDAs, for example, right? So firstly, we have stage one, which is new leads, right? When initial calls come in, right? So let me just send myself a quick message, right? So here. Yep. Right, so here we already have the AI chatbot online already. So after we've sent a message like, hello, I'd like to book a call, our AI chatbot will automatically ask about their name and so as their email before sending them the booking link, right? So see, you already created your opportunity in this pipeline already. So during this stage, they will be tagged with a tag as new contact, right? Where they'll be tagged with new contact before they are moved to the next stage. They'll only be moved to the next stage when they successfully booked a calendar, right? A calendar meet, right? So after the bot actually asks for a few of these questions, right, just to capture information, we'll then send over a booking link, right? So this is a booking link. Just drag this here, right? Something like that, where customers or clients can then where leads can then book a call to the meeting, right? These appointments can actually be groups of appointments. For example, you have salesperson ABC. ABC can be in this group of appointments, and the client can then choose which salesperson they would want to meet with instead. So let us just proceed with the normal booking, right? So for example, dinner, schedule a meeting, right? So you then receive an email that the meeting has been scheduled as well on your email, and most importantly, you will also move to the next step, right? Automatically. And from here on, you can see that the tag has been changed from new contact into first booked, right? This is all happening on the back end through our automations, right? Through our automations here, right? New contact. Then after that, we remove the new contact tag into first booked. So this makes it a lot easier when you're looking through the contacts tab to search for the ones that have booked a meeting. So after you've actually had the call with them, right? For example, this call is booked for 9 a.m. right? You can also check the call under calendars, right? their calendars next week. Right, let's see the call here. Right, so after you've had this call, right, let's say you're happy with what the services are, you're happy with you're keen to explore more, right? You can move on to the NDA signing, which is a non-disclosure agreement with the client, right? So you just move it over, and you automatically send an NDA to the person. Right? In this case, it's going to be me because it's my email. So after you've moved it to the NDA stage, right, you will also receive the NDA document, right? So this is a public document, right? So this is just a template document that I set up, right? It's just a basic document to show you how to extend what it can do. So, for example, then the person can just sign, right? Sign exactly, and then just finish it, right? Similarly, under conversations, we also send a message to the person, right? That the NDA, and please send and accept, and also ask them to check the email to proceed to the next steps, right? Which also leads to this same document, right? For example, you can set up these, right? So that you know it's going to be signed by you, for example, whoever the signer is. So in this video, I'm just going to walk through how you can create this simple automation, right? Inside of this, inside of the GHL automation, right? Which is 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, just this 4 automations, which can help easily automate the starting point of client acquisitions, right? So firstly, head over to Automations tab, right? Create a new workflow, right? I'm just going to name it as a start from scratch, right? So this all automations actually start. We're not gonna use this, right? So all automations actually start from a trigger. In our case, it's when contact replies, right? Customer reply, true. So you can add a filter through WhatsApp, right? True reply channel, which is WhatsApp. You can put it as live SMS, live chat, for example, but I prefer to just have it as WhatsApp. Right? And you can also further down the filter by including every reply from this WhatsApp number. Right. So next step, you can just give them a contact tag, right? Which is what I like to do, which is add a contact tag, and in our case, it's a new contact, right? Depending on your flow or depending on whether or not you want to add a contact, it'll be up to you. But in my case, I like to add a contact because it will help me recognize better on who exactly this person is inside the contact page, right? Inside the contact page, I can then see, what tags are they under, right? Are they a book tag? Are they coming in from LinkedIn? Are they a new contact, for example, right? So yeah, new contact. It'll also help a lot if you actually name these actions properly, right? So add tag, right? Let's say new contact, right? So you at least, so these are just action names that help you understand at what stage are you at, right, of this automation. So this would be 1.01, new lead to first, right? Something like that, which is how it moves from the first lead to the first meeting. So first, I forgot, we actually need to add them into the opportunities, right? So we need to create or update opportunities, right? So under this, we're going to be adding into the demo pipeline, which is this pipeline. You can have multiple pipelines, right? For example, cold call pipeline, demo pipeline, right? So each automation can be specific to each pipeline that you set up for, that you specifically set up for. For in this case, we'll be using demo pipeline, and we'll be starting off in new leads, which is the first lead, right? Opportunity name, we're gonna put the contact name, contact email, and their phone number, right? Opportunity source will be contact source. You can also put this like this, just click here, custom values, contact name, right? You can get contact name, and you can look for the others accordingly, contact name, the email, the phone, for example. and you can use many others, right? So user will be you, right? It will be your own name. In this case, we won't be using that. So yeah, save action. So create the opportunity. Next, we'll create a goal, right? It's a goal event. So a goal event is basically a condition where you want that condition to happen before moving to the next step, right? So in my case, I want condition to be appointment status, right? Because we want to see whether or not the call has been booked or not. So under the calendar, North Stack 1-to-1. So select the calendar that you want to monitor, right? So if this calendar status is confirmed, meaning the call has been booked, we'll then proceed, right? So we want to wait until calendar is booked, then only we proceed to the next step, which is of the workflow. Go appointment booked. Then we'll then move this down the opportunity, right? Move this down the opportunity, right? So inside this demo pipeline, we'll then move it down the pipeline, right? So we'll move it down to the next step, which is first meeting. Same opportunities. I'll just leave it. First booked. First meeting. Then we can remove the tag, right? Remove contact tag. Remove the new contact tag. And then now we add a new tag. Tag, which is first book tag, right? Simple as that. Right, so I've already deleted the contact. I've already deleted the contact in the contacts tag, right? So now let me just create a new appointment again. Appointment, 8 a.m. So we can head back to the execution logs and see what happened. Oh shit. Okay, my bad. I forgot to text myself first, right? Because there's two ways a client will enter this pipeline. First way is when they text you, and second way is if they just straight away book it through this meeting link, right? Then it will just straight away create an opportunity inside the first meeting pipeline. So let me just delete it and try it again, right? Right, so this time around we've did it through the first way, which is we send a message and we've create the opportunity under new leads pipeline. So now let us fill in these. Let's book a calendar, right? Real quick. Right. So now we can see that it will move to the first meeting pipeline, and we can also check the execution logs to see it work, right? So you can see that it went through, it added a new contact, right? At 3:02, right? Added a new contact. It was waiting for meeting to be booked, and when the meeting was already booked, it then moved it to the first meeting and removed new contact, right? Should also add, it also add the first booked tag. So under here, you would see the tag first booked only instead of the new contact. So that's the first part of the automation, first part of the workflow. So now let's create a new one. So now we need to create another workflow for if the customer straight away books it through this meeting link, right? If they've gotten this meeting link elsewhere and they just decided to book a call through this, right? How would they enter this pipeline? So similarly, add a new trigger. So add a new trigger would be customer booked appointment, right? Customer booked appointment. Add a filter. So you need to select in which calendar group. So in my case, I have this group. So you can also change it so that it's let's say sales team appointments or marketing team appointments. So every appointment under North Stack appointment or sales team appointment will be triggering this pipeline, right? So save trigger. So we'll just need to add a contact tag and also move it into the pipeline. So we need to create a contact first, right? Because it's a new contact. So create contact. Nothing much to create, I think. Yeah, just straight away, just create contact. Right, so we're going to create the first name. Right? Choose contact's first name. The email. Contact's email and phone number, right? Contact, phone number. Also we can add the last name, sorry. Last name, contact, last name. Create the contact and also create a contact tag. So next is create a contact tag, right? We're gonna add first booked, and we also add it into the opportunities pipeline, right? Inside the demo pipeline, inside first meeting straight away. This is the placeholders, right? Save action. Save that. So this way, if a customer books a call through the existing link online or elsewhere, they've gotten a link elsewhere, you straight away put it into this pipeline, right? So this is what this workflow does. So rename it properly to no chat beforehand, right? So in any case, if the customer is in this pipeline for too long, we also want to move it to close loss, right? We don't want to saturate this pipeline with people or clients who are not interested. So in any case, we can create a pipeline to automatically move them into close loss where you don't really need to focus on them, right? So firstly, you need to create a new workflow. So the trigger would be if an opportunity has been created, right? If an opportunity has been created inside of the pipeline, right? In which pipeline? Inside the demo pipeline, right? Under which stage? On stage. If it's under the new lead stage, if they were in here for too long and they did not book a call, we'll move them to the close loss, right? So yes. And then we can add a wait step, right? There's a wait. In this case, we'll just add 3 minutes, right, for us to test whether or not it's working later on. In reality, maybe you can set 1 week, right, or 2 weeks, right, something like that. Then we can add a condition, right, condition, if else condition. So we can create a condition where appointment, where last appointment of this client, right? For this contact, if the last appointment is empty, means they never created an appointment before, then they'll be removed from this new leads pipeline and they'll be moved to the close loss pipeline, right? So if it's still empty, they'll be moved there, and if it's nothing, then if it's not empty, then nothing will happen because they'll move on to the next stage based on the previous workflows that we've created. So remove step, right? So firstly, we remove their contact tag from new contact, so because we do not want to even search them on the contacts page, and also create update opportunity. We're going to move them from in the demo pipeline, move them to the close loss pipeline. Name, contact source. This one can. Right. Yep. This is exactly what I did previously as well. So yeah. Now it's just to rename this into first meeting to close loss. Right. Exactly. So autosave. Oh, they have an autosave feature now. Previously they did not have that. So that's very nice. Yeah. So yeah, you can also rename it with numbering to make sure it's neat, right? So now that we have automated, moving them into this first meeting pipeline and into the closed loss pipeline, we need to make sure when they move into NDA, they'll be sent the NDA document, right? We cannot automate this path because we don't know whether or not this meeting is going to go well, and only the person that attends this meeting will know if it goes well or not. And if it goes well, they can just manually move this into NDA, and the NDA document will be sent to them, right? So in this next step, we'll be sending the NDA, right? So firstly, we will need to create a NDA document. So we can head over to under payments, right? Under payments, head over to documents and contracts, templates, right? So we're going to create a public document, right? So what makes the public document different from a normal template document, right? So a template document is actually a reusable master file, right? You set it up once, but you need to set up the placeholder for each company, etc., right? So it'll be specific to company A, company B, company C, right? They'll have template document A, template document B, C, right? A public document is a lot easier to set up because it's just a live link document that you can have fields for the client to fill out prior to accessing the document, right? The public document. So it's more suited for NDAs or agreements, especially in the initial stages of the agreement stage, right? Right. So the public document would have fields like this for you to fill up, right? First name, last name, and email, so that it will be specific towards this person, right? Whoever who fills it, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be the let's say the contact that you've created inside here, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be someone from here. It follows the person that filled up the previous information, right? Right. So yeah, back to here. So we'll just create a public document. Let me just generate some dummy text. So now we just create some text, right? There we go, text. The document. Right. Then we can add a signing field. So it's a text field and the date that they've signed, something like that. So this will be signed by the contact. So the contact will be the person that filled up the previous detail. So yeah, so whoever who fills up this thing will be the contact in this public document, right? So let me just not show the signer name. Select the date, right? Yep, just like that. So just public NDA document demo. Save it. Right, just like that. Now we can head back to the workflow list and we can proceed with creating the workflow. Right. So this workflow will only trigger when we move from first meeting into NDA. So the trigger would be a pipeline change, right? Pipeline stage changed. So add a filter. So in which pipeline? We'll be looking at demo pipeline, and from what stage has it changed from, right? Changed into NDA. So save trigger. We'll then send the NDA. Right, so we then send the NDA. So search for documents and contracts, right? Documents and contracts from user. In our case, I'll be using North Stack Admin. And the template they'll be using is the NDA document -demo, which was the one that we've created earlier. Sending mode, send directly and through email, right? You can use all these others as well, but I'm just going to stick to email because it's more reliable. Save action. So other than sending it through email only, we also want to send it through WhatsApp, right? So under WhatsApp, we're going to send a message to them, right? You can choose a marketing template to send out this message, but you will need to wait for it to be approved. So for the sake of this video, I'm just going to create a free-form message, right? Actually, see, do I have it already? Yeah. So you need to create a template here, something like this, right? Here's the NDA trigger link, which is the link of this document link of this document, and just ask them to please sign it ASAP, right? So you can create this WhatsApp template under settings, head over to WhatsApp, and head over to templates, right here under templates, right? So something like that. Here's the NDA, sign it ASAP, right? So the way you can create this template is, just have a custom value form, right? You can add a variable, right? So let's say add variable. So number 2 will be using. So you can just search public link, right? A trigger link, yeah, sorry. Trigger link. Trigger links, right? NDA public document, right? For example. So this is NDA public document, which will populate this field before you send, right? You populate this field before you send. So it'll come up as a link. So when they click the link, it'll go straight to the NDA for signing, right? So we also want them to send a message just to remind them to check their WhatsApp, right? Check their WhatsApp, right? So just a free-form message. Don't enable branches. Don't need that. Hello. Hello. We can choose here. Contact. First name. We've sent you the NDA. NDA. Yeah. Please check. Sign. If you have no further questions. Thanks. Right. Save action. So after you've moved the person into NDA, you will then send them through email, send them in WhatsApp, and also send a reminder in WhatsApp. Now we can add a reminder sequence to remind them to sign the NDA, right? So it's just like before, if else statement, right? If else, right? So if the contact is in a different pipeline, right? Right. So if the contact is in a pipeline, right, is the demo pipeline under second meeting, right? Because I'll be creating another workflow later for when they've signed this particular document, they'll be moved to the second meeting. So if the pipeline stage is second meeting, right, then it means they've signed already, right? So we won't be reminding them anymore, right? So we can just straight away remove them from the workflow. Remove from workflow. Simple as that. In the current workflow, yes. So we need to let it wait for at least maybe 3 days, right? 3 days. Wait 3 days. If not, then we'll send a reminder, right? WhatsApp reminder. You can either create a new template or a marketing or a utility template, but in my case, I'm just going to create a free-form message. So do not enable branch. Hello. Just a friendly reminder to sign the NDA. Thank you, right? Right, then we can just repeat this step again, right? By waiting 3 days, checking if it's in this pipeline. If not, then we send this message, right? You can do so by actually just copying this everything below, right? Just clicking this, copy all actions from here, then we just paste it, right? And just paste it. Basically duplicating the previous workflow, right? So wait another 3 days, check if it's in this pipeline. If not, then we send another reminder, right? So here we'll need to change up the message a little bit, right? So hey, first name, the chance to get over the NDA that we've sent over to this particular email, right? Just to remind them. Let us know what you think about it, right? So we can actually continue pasting this until forever, but usually we only do 3 follow-ups maximum, so another follow-up, right? Where we wait another 3 days and see whether or not this particular person is inside this second meeting pipeline, means they signed the NDA. If not, then we send another reminder, right? And lastly, if they're still not in there, right, we can always just remove them from the pipeline and put them into closed loss, right? So oops, I accidentally pasted another time, but yeah, no, never mind. So we just move them to opportunities, right? Create an opportunity where we'll be selecting this demo pipeline and move them into closed loss, right? So that's it. Simple like that. So it's a longer flow, but ultimately it will help you declutter, right? It will help you declutter this page instead of having them all in this NDA, right? So some of them will straight away be thrown into closed loss, and the successful ones will be moved into second meeting, right? So this would be NDA sending and reminder sequence, right? So let's save. Right. Now we have to create a new workflow to help move the NDA after it's signed into second meeting, right? So create workflow, start from scratch. NDA to second meeting 1.04, I think. Yeah, I'm not too sure, but yeah, the trigger would be when the document has been signed, right? Documents has contracts, add a filter. So which document and contracts, right? So which template are we talking about? Is this one, right? Because this will be the one that we're sending out. If this document is signed, the status is signed, right? If it's signed, then we will move it into the next stage, right? So create an update opportunities under the demo pipeline. Move them to second, same thing, right? Done. So just like that, you'll be able to move them along this whole pipeline, right? From new leads, first meeting, NDA. After they've signed, move them to second meeting, and you can always create a internal notification to notify your own team, right? Send internal notification, right? It can be a WhatsApp or email, right? Right. There's quite a lot of setup, you know. I'm just gonna create a notification, right? Just a notify inside of GHL, right? Contact name has signed. Has signed the NDA. Hello. Please proceed with second meeting bookings along with the statement. User agreement preparations, right? Etc. So depending on your SOP, right? So everything after this step will be really highly dependent on how your company structures the SOP, right? So thanks, something like that. Redirect page. Also, what this redirect page actually does is, if the notification comes out and if you click on it, where should it redirect to? So I want to redirect it into the conversation page, right? To all users, right? Or you can even have it to whoever that's assigned to this particular contact person, right? And that'll be more specific. Yes, that's all. Yep. Now we'll have to just test all of this, right? So let me just activate all of it. Publish. Right, so now we already have someone inside of first meeting. Let's move him into NDA, and we should receive an email and also a WhatsApp reminder, right? So let's go back. So you see NDA document demo received, right? This NDA is informed in the meeting. Here you sign. And you get this document, right? It requires these 3 fields. Right. So if I just check the chat right now, conversations, right? It should also send a WhatsApp message to us, right? So here's the NDA. This is the link. Right? Please send ASAP. This is the trigger link that we have set, but this leads to another template because this isn't the public document that we've created earlier. So if we actually follow through, it's a previous public document that I've created, right? Yeah, it's a previous one. Because the WhatsApp template message takes a while for it to actually finish, right? So yeah. So you can also see through the execution logs, right? See at what stage is it at. Right? So under NDA, you can check the, not this one. Under this one, NDA and sending and reminder sequence, you can check the execution logs to see at which stage is it at right now. So they've sent the WhatsApp message, right? And they're now waiting for 3 days, right? They're waiting for 3 days. So I should have set it as 3 minutes, but let's just force it through, right? Right, so we just force the contact to the next step in the workflow. So head over to enrollment history. We don't want to wait for 3 days, so we're just going to force it to the next step. So the next step is also to wait for another 3 days because it'll hit to the if else, right? If else condition to see whether or not we are here already. Because we are not, so we'll have to wait for another 3 days. So now let us just try to sign this public document. Not this one, sorry. Not this one. So, okay. Let's fill it out. Done it. The date is 11th. Let it load. Right, so after its success, right, it will also send an email to us telling us that we have successfully signed the document, and most importantly, it should move us to the next stage, which is second meeting, right? So they would have moved us to the second meeting automatically. So under the execution logs, sorry, not this one, under execution logs, you should see that the WhatsApp, we reload this. Yeah, let me just force it. Yeah, so under execution logs, it should have removed us from the current workflow because we have already signed, so it should have moved us out of the workflow. So you can actually review how it actually went, right? See contact execution path. Under enrollment history, you can see the contact execution path. You can see after the first one, where we forced the first if-else statement, where we forced it through this if-else statement. And after here, wait for 3 days. This is after that I've signed already, and I forced it through this wait period, and it pushed it, and it removed it from this workflow because it has already been moved to the next stage of the pipeline. So yeah, with just these 5 workflows, you're able to more or less automate this pipeline stage, right? All the way from new leads, all the way to the second meeting stage, which would drastically help you filter through who your sales team, your BD team should be focusing their efforts on, right? So your BD team will generally just need to take the call, right? And also just update the pipeline stage based on the call outcome, and everything else, the messages, the emails, the follow-ups, right, the NDA generating will all be fully automated. So instead of chasing for paperwork, administrative work, right, they just have to focus on conversations and closing the deal, where GHL and this automation particularly handles the rest. I hope you found this video helpful. With this, you can automate your client acquisition flow and would really greatly help your team and will greatly reduce the friction of your team. Right? Thanks for watching. Thank you, and happy automating. Thank you.